Oh, this one?
Into that.
A little higher.
Like
So,
this?
like,
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm just put this right there.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
you go. Sweet. Okay. Aryunna, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Okay, so to start, can you just tell us about your foster journey? Where did it start? How did you first get into the system?
Yeah. So, I don't really remember before because I got in the foster care system when I was 4. What I was told was that my mom left me and my sister because she was, I think, 2 or 1.5 at her apartment alone for 3 days. I don't really know who found us, but someone did, and that's how we got into care. I don't really remember if we moved a lot or I just remember we ended up at this home. She was an older lady. Her daughter lived with her, and then her granddaughter. That's all I really remember. I lived there it was a total of 13 years. But in the 8th year, I ended up getting adopted by her. So that was in 2015. Then after that, things started getting a little rocky, and then I ended up back in care in 2021. So I've had a bit of a journey from that.
Yeah. So with So you said that you were, you got removed, put into foster care. You were in this home, got adopted, and when you're adopted, the idea is that that's your
Forever
home.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Can you speak on that?
So, I mean, I guess it was signs throughout the whole 13 years I was there. I could tell she was in it for the money, I feel like. And she didn't really treat us like we were her own. It was very favoritism towards her granddaughter. And then she had like this stereotype that we were like bad, like we have like mental problems or like there's something wrong with us. So it wasn't really a good environment mentally for us. And then I feel like after we got adopted, so I did ask her to be adopted, which I thought it would get better after, but obviously it didn't. And I feel like after that, like the emotional abuse really got bad. And it got to the point where children's services had to get back involved. And yeah, ended up back in care.
Go for it.
You said you could tell that she was in it for the money. Do you have like specific instances or examples that made like when you saw that happen and you were like, that's for the money?
Well, this one incident, this is when courts got involved and she wanted me out of her house, so I ended up living with my biological mom for like a week, which didn't work out for multiple reasons. And her daughter ended up getting temporary custody of me for like 8 months. And so during that whole she packed all my stuff up. We all went to my mom's, stayed there for a week, and then I guess after she realized she wasn't getting money from me anymore, she like wanted me back. And obviously I didn't want to go back. So then she had the police sent to my mom's house and into the school, and she threatened me. She was like, if you don't get in the car with her daughter that was picking her granddaughter up from school, then I'm going to have the police sent to the school and you're going to go to jail and all this stuff. And so I'm like, yeah, she wasn't really. And then she told me a story of how like she got into foster care. She was like, I just did it because my sister said you make good money or something like that. I'm like, oh, cool. So you're just in it for the money, to be honest. And then another time, like when she was trying to get rid of me, like from 2019 through 2021 was like absolutely worst years of my life. And I remember her trying to get more money from the county for me. She was like, oh, or I want her gone if you guys don't give me more money for her. Like she has problems and she's like not able to, like she won't be able to live on her own and all this stuff. So I mean, she basically said it. She's doing it for the money, but there's also signs as well.
Yeah. How does that make you feel that she like said that to your face?
I mean, she said worse stuff, so it wasn't. I mean, it was. I kind of knew what, like, once I was able to, like, understand, but I mean, it is what it is. I feel like.
Yeah. And then leaving that situation, how did you leave that situation?
So, I kept. This was like in 2021. I kept going back and forth to the mental hospital. So, and then Children's Services finally stepped in and was like, "Hey, like, this is not cool." Because, like, I went to the mental hospital, like, I think, like, 3 times that year in, like, the span of, like, 6 months. And I was there, like, over a week, the whole, like, all 3 times. And they were like, "Yeah, this is not really safe." So, like, after I think the 3rd time, they found me a home while I was in the, like, crisis center. And, like, me getting out of it, I was sent straight to my new home. Like, all my stuff was already there. Like, everything was already packed. So I didn't even get to pack any of my own stuff. All the stuff was in bags. So, and it was like 30, like, I moved like 30, 40 minutes away from like my hometown. So that was like a big change. So I remember I was in the car with my caseworker. And I'm like, we're going to this new place. Because I'm used to like RTA, getting on the bus, going to school. That's all I've known. I didn't see one RTA stop where we're going. I'm like, where's the RTA stops at? How am I going to get to school? So that was a big change. But I think it was a really good change. I'm glad. Like, I wanted to leave, so I'm glad that I left. And I think I did really better being out of her care, obviously, for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to get out of that. So you said if you're comfortable talking about this,
Mm-hmm.
you said you're in and out of the mental health hospital. Was that like a choice that you had to go in, or did your
So, I mean, she took me, but I'm not really sure why, because she didn't really believe, like, oh, there's no such thing as, like, being depressed, you're just lazy. So I'm not really sure why she took the time out of her day to take me to, like, get help if she didn't believe it was real, I guess. But it was just, I didn't harm myself, it was just the ideation part. So I guess that was enough to get me admitted multiple times. And I was on medicine. Like, I was on a lot of medicine, actually. Like, she drugged me up. She thought I was, like, bipolar. I had all these tests done. I remember having, like, getting, like, sleep scans multiple times. Like, having, like, all these wires on my head. Like, I remember this one time we went to, like, go to, like, this event at a school. And, like, we met Santa, like, sat on his lap. And I just remember the picture is me having a whole bunch of wires on my head wrapped in, like, this, like, wrap. Like, I was very unhappy. Like, it wasn't, just remember things like that.
Why did she like?
I don't know. She thought, like, there was, like, something mentally wrong. Like she said, oh, you'll never be able to live on your own. You'll never be able to drive. Like, I remember before I got removed from her home. Oh, I forgot the mic. Before I got removed from her home, she was trying to get me into, like, this independent living, like, housing. Because she works with, like, people with, like, disabilities. And she was trying to get me in that type of home. Because she was like, oh, you'll never be able to live on your own. Like,
How old are you?
I was, like, 14, 15, 13. Like, I was pretty... Well, when I got back into care, I think I was 16, 17. But she was saying that stuff before then. And she was trying. And obviously, they didn't accept me. Because clearly, I'm able to do, like, normal human things. So when that didn't work, she was just trying to, I don't know, just keep me in her house, like, not do anything.
If you're being told by someone who's supposedly your guardian, like, that you need all this stuff and you won't be able to do things, and what does that make you like, did you almost believe her at one point?
Oh
Or?
yeah, my self-esteem went downhill. My self-esteem was terrible, um, which I feel like it got me more motivated. Like in school, like I was a straight A student, did well in school, never missed a day, and then she was still saying that I was like dumb and stupid and all this. Like my grades show otherwise, so I'm not really sure what you mean by that. And then she was like, she wasn't gonna let me go to college, cause she was like, oh, I don't want you to get into the drugs and you sleep around with everyone and like just negative, just negative. So
Yeah, what does that do to you emotionally? Like, how frustrating was that for you?
it was really frustrating, cause I'm like, no matter what I do, she's gonna say something negative. Like there's no arguing with her. Like there's no point. You're just wasting your breath. Cause she's gonna like when she says something, it's like she really means it. There's no like changing her mind. So I just kind of just let her talk. And I don't know. It was just frustrating.
Yeah. So getting out of that, and going somewhere else, where did your caseworker take you?
It was this home in Springboro. She was a very nice lady. Um, it was just her, and she had like a dog and a cat. Like she was very nice. Um, and then ended up. So I was having stomach problems at that time too. I just had surgery to get like a cyst removed off my ovary during that whole like court situation too, which was very stressful. And I was still having those stomach problems. And I remember my stomach problems got so bad I had to go to the hospital. So it was at night. I was there all day at night, and then they admitted me. And then I think I got released the next day. And my foster mom at the time, she couldn't pick me up because it was dark, and she's like legally blind. So there was no one able to pick me up. So it ended up having like another foster parent come pick me up, and I stayed with them for like a while. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back to my old foster home, and I ended up like getting placed there. So they just like took me away from her. Ended up getting placed at this person's house. I'm like upset, mad. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And they're like, well, your foster mom abandoned you. She didn't pick you up from the hospital, and all this stuff. And so I'm like mad. I was showing out. I was bad. And then I think I was only there for like 3 months, and she ended up like having me removed. And then I ended up going back to the foster parents' house I was at the first time. And I guess like my mental health was like really bad. And then she ended up putting her 30-day notice. So that didn't last long. And then I ended up getting moved to another home. And she was nice. I liked her. It was a mom and a dad, and they already had 3 kids. So it was like a family setting. I think I was there the longest. I think I ended up staying there for like a little over 2 years. I think the first year, an event happened. I don't really remember, but I ended up getting put in a respite for like 2 weeks. But I was moved around a lot after being put back in care. Because I remember, actually, that wasn't the first home I went to, I don't think. I think I went to a home before that, and I was only there for 3 days. And I ended up going to the hospital because of my stomach problems. And they were like, we're done. We're not dealing with this.
How many homes do you think if you had to put a number on it, how many?
I think it was only 3 homes, but I moved like probably 7, 8 times during the span of that. Because I was going back and forth through those homes. Well, not the first home, but back and forth through the last 2 homes.
How, like, is that confusing for someone? Is that, like...
Yeah, and it, like, really messed with my schooling as well. Because I was, like, during my, so I got put back in care during, like, half my sophomore year. And then, like, beginning of my junior year, I ended up going back to, like, Dayton area. I was only there for a month, and then I got moved back to Springboro. So that was like a switch because like Trotwood and Springboro schools are different, like curricular wise. So I'm like, they were behind from Springboro. So I'm like, ugh. That was like kind of stressful and confusing. And then just packing up and then unpacking and then packing up. I probably lost some clothes during that too. So, yeah, it was just very confusing and stressful.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back and touch on, you said at the one placement where you were there for kind of longer than you wanted to be and you didn't want to be there and you were kind of angry. Can you just like walk me through with a little more detail the emotion you're feeling with like that anger?
Well, I feel like it wasn't. Well, I didn't want to be back in the area for one, because that's like a trauma area. I mean, I'm like comfortable with it now, obviously, because I've gotten older. But like when I first got in the care, put back in the care, I'm like, I do not want to be in the Dayton area at all, like at all, anywhere near. Because I know exactly. I know her address to this day. Like I remember it in my head. So I'm like, and I think I was like 15 minutes from her too. So it was like very trauma response. I really didn't want to be there. And I mean, the home was good. I guess it wasn't like she wasn't abusive or anything. It's just just didn't want to be there. And it was I was wrongfully taken out of the other parent's home because it wasn't her fault. And there was no communication from the hospital or the foster parent. So I'm like, it wasn't really her fault. And they know she couldn't drive. She can't drive at night. So
Yeah, that's so incredibly frustrating.
yeah, so I'm not sure why they did that.
Yeah.
I have a question. So like during the situation, you said that I was bad, I was mad.
Yeah, I mean, I did act out. I wasn't like I would get attitude and I think I think my like stomach problems get worsened when I'm like very stressed. So I was really stressed, and I feel like that brought up my stomach problems more often. So I have to be going to the hospital more often. And she had like I think two other kids at the time, so it was stressful for her to drive like 15, 20 minutes to a hospital for me. So that was stressful for her, and I just didn't. I just had an attitude. I didn't. Yeah.
Did you have an attitude because of like your circumstances or your stomach problems or like
Just like the circumstances, just yeah. I mean, it wasn't her fault, obviously. So I feel kind of bad. I should have been more respectful.
But I mean, you can't like when you're in that situation like that, you can't help how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So
I had a question. So that's a lot of instability that you've experienced growing up.
Very a lot.
What kind of long-lasting effect does that instability have on you think?
I don't know. I just feel like yeah, things are good right now, but will it always be? I'm just always prepared for like something crazy to happen, and then I'm like, everything's bad again. Like, I never think like, oh, this is like a good to be true thing. Like, like, oh, this is too good to be true. Like that's how I feel. I mean, obviously not now because I'm like grown out a bit more mature, but definitely then.
yeah. And you think that's like a direct response to just like, do you think just like the system in general or kind of just specifically what you were going through at the time?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, like do you think like let me rephrase it. Do you think it's like you having this personal experience, is it because of being in foster care, like being in the system and like so other people in similar situations that are also in the system may like also feel this instability or feel this, or do you think like it was just
Yeah, I definitely think so. Cause I feel like you never stay in one home. I feel like you always end up moving, for some reason. So I feel like you always have to be on your toes.
yeah.
But I think, like how much I moved is probably not gonna happen to everybody. I think it's just my situation of how many times I moved. Also, I think the age. I think the age really matters too, because I feel like after the age of like 16, 17, like I feel like parents don't really want to deal with teenagers, regardless. Anyway, so I feel like that's also why I moved a lot, which is very odd. Why I got put back in care, because I only had like 2, 3 years until I aged out anyway. So I feel like I wouldn't even be able to find anyone that would want to take a teenager anyway. So I was surprised.
Yeah. Do you think we need more like foster parents that are willing to take teenagers?
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of foster parents like want babies or like 1, 2 year olds. They don't really want anyone that's like have a mind of their own. I feel like so.
Yeah.
I might have had something related, but I've lost it. So I'm gonna sit here and think about it.
Okay.
Oh, I got it. If you could go back in time and talk to like your younger self, maybe not necessarily when you were 4 years old, but maybe a little bit older, going through all this, like what would you tell yourself?
I would just say it gets better. I don't really know. I would just say just hold on. It gets better. Just keep focusing on school and figuring out what you want to do when you grow up to be successful as an adult. So,
Were you hopeful as a kid?
at first, but like once like the negative thoughts started coming in, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was still like doing really good in school despite me saying like me thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna be anything. Like, what am I doing this for? I'm not gonna like. She's gonna have me trapped. I feel like. So, I didn't like anything. Like, I wanted to be an artist at some point, and I told her, and she was like, "Oh, artists don't make any money. That's stupid. You're not gonna make any money." So I'm like, that shot down. So I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do now. So.
Yeah, not having like that support of, like if you tell like a parent, like this is what I want to do when I'm older, and they're like, don't what? No, like, how does that make you feel? How does that put you on track? Like,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like, I mean, coming from her, I feel like if I said I wanted to be a doctor, she would find something negative to say. So I feel like anything I said to her, it would be negative. So I feel like I should have just kept going what I wanted to go with, regardless of what she was saying. Because anything I said would have been negative. But at the time, it was very frustrating.
yeah. Okay. Kind of changing gears a little bit. So, you said that you got to a place where you had no choice but to move out, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I was with this family. It was the mom and dad and the 3 kids. I was with this family for 2 years, a little over 2 years, I think. And then a couple months before I turned 18, I got put into the British program, and that's when I was going to college. And they were like, "Well, you need to find somewhere to go because we're going to be using your room for another kid." And I mean, thank God at the time, like I had a boyfriend, and he let me stay there for the summer until I went to college. But like, imagine if I didn't have anyone. Like, where would I go? Like, I couldn't get an apartment. There would be no way I would be able to get an apartment. So it's like, just to be kicked out like that, I don't know. Made me feel unwanted, even though I was there for like 2.5 years. But
It made you feel unwanted?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like what do you think you would have done if
I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what I would have done. Because Bridges takes a while to get approved. So I wouldn't, even if I did, like, was able to get an apartment, I want to be able to pay rent for, like, the first 3 months. So that wouldn't have worked anyway.
Was there ever a fear of like homelessness?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, right now I'm in the fear of homelessness, but we're not gonna talk about that. But it's okay. So.
Because you're in your own.
Yeah, I'm in my own apartment right now. I live on my own right now, and Bridges ends when I turn 21, which is in September. So, in like 7 months, and I'm not really sure if I'm gonna be able to afford rent on my own, but I'm not trying to think about that, and I am taking steps to prevent that. So, like finding a roommate and looking for cheaper apartments. So, but.
So in the pre-interview, you like mentioned how it would be really useful for Bridges to go until like the person was 25.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little more about what ideas you have for like how foster care agencies can improve and like really help emancipated youth?
I just like more there's like a small amount of people that knows about Bridges for one. I feel like we should get that out there. Like, all you to do is work 20 hours a week and you get a stipend every month. Very simple, very easy. The caseworkers are amazing. They're very supportive. They'll get you even more resources as well. Because I'm through Choices Bridges. I'm not through the county, which also I think, in my opinion, is a lot better than the county, but it's okay. Wait, is that through the county? Oh, sorry.
That's okay, I can explain.
So if more people know about that, I feel like that would be good. I'm not really sure. And there's no way for you to not get accepted either. I feel like it's very simple. All you just do is have a job.
How did you find out about Bridges?
Through my caseworker. I think it was through Choices. My Choices caseworker, not my Montgomery County. It's a very simple process. But it does take a while for them to go through the paperwork and stuff. So you won't get it immediately. But what you do is very simple. And then, like, even if you're not able to get the hours that you need, the 40 hours a month, they'll give you, like, a grace period to be able to get that hours, too, so you don't get kicked out immediately. And then if you were to get kicked out, it's very simple to get back in it. But, again, it's going to take, like, a while, too.
How do you think people in a community, people in foster care programs can work to prevent homelessness for age outs?
I feel like the caseworkers should, like, talk with the fosters, like, a couple months before they turn 18 to, like, discuss, like if they have a plan. Like, yeah, you're probably going to college, but where are you going to live, like, during the summer? And then make sure, like, wherever they're going to be at is stable. I'm not really sure. I just feel like, yeah, Bridges is cool, but I feel like we should have more resources as well. Like a housing, like, program or something.
That would be the most helpful to you. Like, is homelessness, like, the one thing you're...
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I feel like, because I feel like before, like years ago, they just kick you out on the street. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard they just kick you out on the street and just let you get, like, defend for yourself, which a lot of foster kids, like, once they turn 18, are not ready to live on their own. So I feel like that's like something.
Something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You were talking about it a little, so if you don't want to answer this question, it's okay. But so your 21st birthday is coming up. For most kids not in your situation, that's the day they're counting down to in excitement. What is it like for you?
I mean, I'm still excited, but I'm also like dreading like what's gonna happen. Like, where am I gonna be living? Um, like, how am I gonna get this income? Like, sufficient income. Like I make a lot to be able to afford all this. Um, I mean, like, luckily I have a car now, so like I can have more job opportunities. But like, is that enough? I mean, then again, I mean, the economy's not really that well right now, so I can't really blame, like, not blame, but even if I do get a sufficient enough job, it's probably still won't be enough because of how the economy is right now. But I think I'm still excited, but also like I'm trying not to be as anxious about it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird that like once you hit like a literal date, that
Yeah.
like, it's gonna be kind of uncertain from then on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about like her accomplishments on the board?
Totally. Okay. So, tell us where you are now and tell us what you're up to.
Okay. Well, I live on my own. Actually just got my license and car this year. So I know it's a little late. It's a little late, but it's okay. Um, yeah, I live on my own, have a car. Trying to get into phlebotomy. I don't really want to go to school, so I'm trying to take the route of like going to like CompuNet, and they'll train you. They'll pay to train you. Um, I think it's like a week course or a month course, something like that. So that's where I'm going. But I do DoorDash Instacart also on the side. So, um, um,
What does it feel like to have like your life in your own hands now?
it's a little scary because first I didn't think I would be able to do it because I've been told I wouldn't all my life. Like, I'm driving a car. Like, she said I would never be able to drive a car because I would have my ADHD. I would get too distracted and like run into a pole. Her words. Her words. She said I would never be able to live on my own. Been on my own for over a year now. I did go to college. She said I would never be able to go to college. And obviously I didn't get into drugs because yeah. So, like, I'm doing everything what she said I couldn't do.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel great. Like, I don't know, it just makes me feel great.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of stats of like kids that go through foster care that just like, or yeah, there's that stereotype where it's just like, foster kid, you're gonna end up.
Yeah, they're
you know.
just like so bad, or they
Right.
have like all these like mental problems and
to defy those stereotypes and to like do the exact opposite. Like,
Pass cams down. Cam. It just fell. This cord is so loose. Hopefully it's saved the recording.
fingers crossed.
While you're checking that, I don't know if Stacia, you can provide some information about the fridges and like programs like that aren't really agency driven. Those are the state and federal programs. That's not a like the county caseworker could do
Roland,
anything
can
about
you
it.
do a slate
Okay.
again?
Oh, yeah, do you wanna do the slate?
oh yeah.
Just real quick.
Okay. Did it work? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Well, can you tell us about the youth advisory group that you're a part of?
Yeah. So, it's a small group of kids. Some are still in care, some are emancipated. Um, we go to Columbus for like these state meetings every 3 months, and we do like workshops and talk about how to make foster care better for the state. We also do like a um, yearly what's the word?
Conference?
Yeah, thank you. Yearly conference, like from kids all over the country, people from, uh, like even out of the country, like, wait, what are they? Puerto Rico, yes, Puerto Rico, and it's a week thing where they're like, last year I went to Florida. We were there for a week. We do like workshops, talk about like what different states are doing to help like foster care, or what we can do to help. And we like bounced off ideas like, oh, this state is doing this for like college students, like we should do that too. And also like when we go back to like when we go to the Columbus meetings, we try to get them to like talk up to like the legislative about, yeah, let's try to get this like tuition, like what's the word? Yeah, tuition waiver, like, and because it'll help the college students in foster care, like pay for their college and stuff. We're very involved with like the legislative part. We try to use our voice to change. So.
Do you think, the voice that, like, do you think change is actually coming of this?
I hope so. I don't know any updates or behind the scenes stuff, but I'm hoping that my voice is doing something to change things.
And how does that make you feel that you in your situation, in your circumstance, can be an advocate? Like, people are inviting you to go to different states to speak on, like, an issue that has been so real in your life, or something that's impacted. Like, how does that make you feel?
It made me feel great, empowered. Like, I don't know, I'm doing something to change, like for future foster kids.
Awesome.
I don't know if you want to ask her about like what she was able to do last year during our big push and how there were several, like for our cross agency event, that she was able to share her story. I think for the first time we've had a foster youth share their story in front of this, combined county collaborative event that was attended by media, that other videos were made about it. I know that was really
Child
scary.
Abuse Prevention
Yeah,
Month. Yeah.
I know that she was really nervous about it, but that was another way that on a local level she was able to speak with elected officials about her experience and.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
It was a lot of people in that room, like very like important people. And I don't know, I was nervous because I think it was my first time. Well, it was my first time being on camera, or maybe second time being on camera, but like first time like speaking to like that many people about like my story. So it was very overwhelming, but it was good.
What does it feel like to share such a story as yours with a bunch of people?
At first it could be like terrifying, but I feel like it's like someone else might be in the exact same situation as me, and they could like maybe learn from me and know that it's not gonna be bad the whole time. Like eventually it does get better.
Yeah, like if you could mentor someone who's maybe in the same situation, went through the same situation as you, what would that mean to you to mentor someone like that? And then, like, what kind of advice would you give them to?
I'm not sure. I would just say try to advocate for yourself while in that situation, because I didn't really advocate for myself because I feel like there would have been no point. Advocate. Um, like if you have like if you have like, oh, I want to do this, but like other people are telling me not to, I would say keep doing that. Just focus on your future and advocate and find your social circle that you can um, just communicate with them and like vent or whatever. There might be, just have a support system, find a support system and advocate and work on yourself and yeah.
How, in situations where you feel like you can't advocate for yourself anymore, you're just drained, like how do you continue doing that, and how important is it to continue doing that?
I just keep pushing. I mean, there's not really no point to just lay around because it's not really going to do anything. Um, I think it's really important to just keep pushing. I think that's just like the most important part. Because at one point I didn't really have a support system. It was literally just me, and I just pushed and kept moving.
And do you think that was like one of the reasons like why you're kind of in the place you are today?
Yeah, definitely. Because like it was hard finding an apartment, and well, I mean I had help. I had my um, old casa worker. He's still very involved. Um, he was helping me look for apartments too, and he found this one that's like great area, not that much high in rent. Like it was perfect, and it was right across from where I was working at the time too. So and I didn't have a car, so I just walked to work. Great area. He's amazing.
How important is it to have good connections with like caseworkers or just people in organizations?
It's very important, because they know resources that we don't know. They know how to help you get into those resources, like, and they're just good to talk to. I have a very good connection with my Bridges worker. Like I can probably call him right now and be like, "Hey, I need to vent to you," and he'll be like, "Yeah, what's up?" And again, he's helping me find another apartment. Like we're looking in the area. Um, He's just great. I have a great support system.
That's incredible. And what would you say to foster youth just like going through a similar thing, just to kind of like get their spirits up?
It will get better with time, but you just keep pushing and keep advocating. I think that's the most important. Just advocate, because they're not gonna know unless you tell them, and it can be scary, but if you advocate, then something will change.
So you said it's really good when you have a good connection with your caseworker, and you kind of told us a little bit before that you had a situation where you didn't. So what happens when you don't have that good connection?
It's really hard to advocate for yourself because you don't really know who to turn to. Or it's harder, like if you do tell them and then they're not like receptive or they can't really do anything on their end, then we're just at like a point where like, oh, well, what do we do? And you're just stuck in that situation longer than you need to be.
My log died.
It died? Okay, that's fine because I think I don't have any other questions. Do you guys have any?
I feel like I had another one. What were we talking about? Oh, you talked at an abuse convention or something?
Yeah, it
Child
was
abuse
last
prevention?
year.
Could you give us a summary of like what that talk was about?
I mean, I can send you her speech. Like we wrote it together.
Yeah, we wrote a speech together.
And it wasn't just like the lawmakers and stuff, but it was about her really reaching the public. This was a chance for the first time that we were able to show the public, you know, at foster youth, this was their journey where they started. Look for the signs, because like a neighbor, I think actually is the one who noticed.
Yeah, I think a
and
neighbor.
saved her. And then, you know, just with everything she's accomplished, being able to show other kids in that same, and she talked about it on started isn't where you wind up.
Mhm.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to expand and
Yeah,
give
could
your
you
own take
expand
on
on
that.
that and like
Um,
tell us about the stories you told? You don't have to go in complete detail. Just like
Yeah,
what
it
you
was really
found.
just I just telling my story. I don't really know.
Like, did you speak on like the resources that you were given, or the help you got, or like the personal?
I think it was. I don't think I was.
It was more personal.
Yeah, it was more
like,
personal.
story.
Okay.
Um,
But she did a great job. And
yeah,
then we
I don't
actually
remember.
have
I don't remember.
we have
Here we
pictures
go.
and stuff from that, and also I was just thinking about it. We have a nice drone shot of all of them waving, and they're wearing blue.
Oh, cute.
That I can see
Okay.
if I can find that video too to send you.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
she did such a great job,
She
and
did.
so many people. That event has always been important here in the county, but the feedback from that I feel like was even more positive, and because of how impactful her sharing her story was, and being able to put a face on these are the kids you're helping when you are either in this work day to day or just being someone who you see something, say something. I know that's cliche, but it's true. In the case of Aryunna and so many other kids too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, are you comfortable sharing that story about your neighbor saving you?
I don't really remember though because I was like 4.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, that was a story I was told, but later on I was told a completely different story. So I'm not really sure what
Yeah.
story to believe, but yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know any details.
Like, do you know how the neighbor found you?
I'm not sure. I really don't. Maybe like they heard us crying or something. I don't really know like how the neighbor even thought to like check up on us.
And this is when you were left in the apartment for 3
Yeah.
days?
So I don't know.
Man, that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only when you're 4 and stuff, you can't think of it. But
Like
I
like
can't even imagine like what would have happened if they hadn't. Do you ever think about that?
yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's crazy. Like I don't. The only vivid memory that I remember probably, like before age of 4, was me burning my finger on an iron. That's literally all I remember. Or me stepping on a piece of glass. Like I don't remember anything, like significant.
Yeah, what do you think would have happened if you weren't?
We probably just starved to death, or I don't know. She maybe had food. I have no idea, but we probably would have just like starved or something.
Do you know if she ever came back or?
I don't know. I don't really know any other detail other than her leaving us for 3 days.
But what is it like to not know like a part of your childhood?
I don't. It's scary. Like I don't remember anything. I don't know. Yeah.
That's wild. It's probably also because you were just like little and
Yeah.
no one remembers things when they're little, but yeah, that's super wild.
For what it's worth, Aryunna, like as that being your case details, you can always get your own case if you really wanted to go back through it, right, Stacia? They can get all their case info.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Since it's you at the center of it, like that's a right of yours.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have them give you your case records.
Do you think you'd ever do that? Get those case records to see?
Yeah.
You'd want to know what happened?
Yeah.
Why would you even be
Just
curious?
for one, cause when like I got back in contact with my mom and I was with her for that week, she told me not her, but my godmom told me a completely different story of why I got into care, which doesn't really sound believable, but I don't know. I just want to see like what the county or the caseworker jot down, like typed on what really happened.
Yeah. What do you think knowing that truth would do for you?
I mean, right now probably nothing, because I feel like it's over with, it's done. But it would just like let me know like if it was that bad to that extent. So
There's power in truth when it comes to healing.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Is there anything in your experience that, like, I'm gonna backtrack in my own question. Ignore everything I've said. If if you could change anything in the system as a whole, like obviously there's a lot of things that could be changed. Like, what is one thing that you think is the most important thing that needs to be changed?
Um, I've I don't know. I just feel like we need more foster parents that actually have good intentions. I mean, you don't know that. You don't know their intentions when they become one, but I don't know. If we can find some way to figure out their true intentions, like good foster parents that like actually like want to better like the kid and help them succeed and be a good support system. Um, that would be like my main thing. Also, I mean, also the resources after care is important too. I would put those at one. I can't pick one. Those are very two important ones, like to me. Um, but yeah, just find good foster parents.
Why is it important to have foster parents with good intentions?
Cause like they'll they'll actually like care for you. They'll like treat you like their own. Um,
Why is it important to like feel treated as someone's own?
I don't know. I just feel like you just feel the love from them, like more. Because in my situation, I feel like I was very like her granddaughter obviously favoritism, and we would get in trouble a lot for things she done, because they would believe her over us. Um, which also I feel like is why the stereotype she like formed of us being like all foster kids are bad because of what experienced between her granddaughter and us. Um, I don't know, just true like you just feel loved, like you can feel it, like it doesn't feel fake, if that makes sense.
Going off of that, as someone who's sorry, I hear my voice echoing in the headphones. I can't deal with it anymore. As someone who's gone through foster care, what are like maybe the top 3 things that you can think of that foster youth need being in the system?
um, Definitely support system. um, mm, I would say resources, but I feel like that's more for after care. I mean, I guess you need resources during it too. Um, and I'm not sure what the last one would be.
Like if you could like put yourself back into when you were in maybe with that woman who didn't really believe you and was just like kind of hard on you, what did you wish you had in that situation that you just like didn't know even where to look for, didn't even maybe think would ever be possible?
I'm not sure. Maybe like a good environment, but I feel like that should be automatic if you're going into a foster home.
You're good.
um, I don't know. Support system, resources, and a good environment. I feel like. I don't know if that was a good answer or not.
No, that's a great answer.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been through all different kinds of stages of foster care. You've been in foster care itself, placements, and you've even attempted reunification, and then you aged out. Have you ever really truly felt like you belonged somewhere?
No. No. That sounds bad, but no. Cause like even then, like even when I got out and I stayed at this family's house for like the last 2 years before I turned 18. I mean, like, yeah, like they treated me like their own, but in the end, I had to leave. Like I couldn't stay. Like I don't want to say kicked out, but I mean it kind of was. So I don't know. I just never felt like I belonged somewhere.
Did you say you had to be back by 1?
I've got to check out at 1, but I can see if somebody else can take care of it.
Because it's 12:40.
It's 12:40. Okay. Yeah, we can start wrapping this up. Do you guys have any other questions you wanna? Okay.
You gave a lot of detail.
You did. So that was
Okay.
just incredible. Any final words you want to say? Just any thoughts you have that you kind of just want to get out
There's one more
there?
after that as well. So do you ask that question? Go on. I'm sorry.
You have a question?
One more after that.
Do you want to ask that one first?
It was the one word one that we're supposed to.
Oh, okay, got it. So yeah, just any other thoughts you want to get out there? You want to say? We got cameras.
I would just say advocate for yourself. Like even aftercare, like try to get. I mean, I was lucky enough to be able to be a part of like the advisory board that I'm in, but if you're able to try to get into something like that, and try to like talk to like if you're able to higher ups about like your experience and what they should do to try to avoid that or change that. I would just say advocate. That's my main. What's the word? Yeah, no, like my main like. No.
Philosophy?
Slogan. Something, yeah, something like that. Advocate, advocate, advocate.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And what would you say? So that's like what you would say to foster youth in your position. What would you say to foster parents or people thinking about becoming foster parents?
I would just say make sure you're doing it for the right intentions. But regardless if they are or not, try to be that foster child support system. Try to be patient with them, because like they've been through a lot already, and they're coming into your home thinking like, oh, this is gonna be change. So just be patient and try to become their support system, and try to like prepare for their future and not tear them down. So, yeah.
If I can jump in real quick, one other like turn of that question is, what would you tell those prospective foster parents who maybe have misconceptions about foster youth? What would you want them to know about you or other, children entering the system to help them be better foster parents?
We are the way we are because of our past, but don't let that like. I probably worded that wrong. Right. But not let that define. Yes, thank you. Don't not let them define their future. Yeah. Wait.
Can you put that together?
Yeah, let me. Okay. Crap, I forgot it. What was my beginning part? We are the way that we are because of our past, but don't let that define our future.
Can you just say it one more time?
Yeah. Okay.
And like really when you say that.
Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Take two.
Okay. We are the way that we are because of our past, but don't let that define our future. Perfect. Okay.
If I were doing a news story, that would be my ending bite.
Yeah, that's a really good
You
one.
did
That's
perfect.
pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes. If you could describe the foster care system in one word, what would that word be? And then say it in like a sentence. Like I would describe the foster care
Okay.
system.
I will describe the foster care system. I was gonna say confusing, but I don't feel like that's a good word.
Use whatever word you want.
Yeah, I like complicated better. Okay, I will describe the foster care system in one word as complicated. Very complicated. You want me to explain or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I just, cause like, I bet you guys get calls like every day about a kid in a bad situation, and like you never know, like I don't know, like not all cases get to like a point where they're removed, but I feel like until a certain point, I feel like, and that's like complicated because you never know, like not if it's true, but like if it's like that like severe to be like to the point where they're removed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you just don't know. You just don't.
Yeah, so like that, I feel like that's the complicated part, and then like also like trying to find the kid at home, and like hoping that that kid stays at that home for a long time, and then hoping that they get reunified with their biological parent. I feel like that's complicated in itself because the biological parent has to go through like classes and like all this stuff. I don't know. It's just very complicated. I feel like yeah.
Yeah. You're right.